Second step is your list. The list is by far the most underused and misunderstood tool that you have to build this business. If you're trying to build this business and you're trying to bring people into this business and you're not utilizing a list, there's no way you're going to be successful long term. I mean, it is just going to be so rare that you can actually be successful long term. Your list does so many things, and we could take an hour and talk about the list, and maybe we'll do that in a follow-up video or something like that. But the basics of the list: within 72 hours, you need to have a person have a list of a minimum of 100 names. But Brian, I don't know 100 people. Yes, you do. Pull out your cell phone, and that's the beginning of your list right there. Every single person that you know who their name is should be on their list. I'm not saying 100 people you think are going to do this business. I don't care if you think any of them are going to do this business or not. You need to have a minimum of 100 names written down. You need to go through and qualify that list. Why are lists so important? If a person joins the business and they purchase some product, they're not actually in the business. I can't tell you how many people over the years I talked to, and they're like, oh, yeah, I did network marketing. And I say, okay, well, what is your definition of doing network marketing? Well, I joined the business and, I talked to a few people. I say, well, okay, so you bought some product. You didn't actually work a network marketing business. Most people never actually start to work a network marketing company at all. They buy some product, they think they worked it, but they haven't. If you haven't done your list, you haven't started working the business. Your list is the very first action item that you're going to take, that a person is going to take whenever they start working this business, is writing down their list. It's something that changes when you put those names on the paper and you start to qualify them than before. You're actually now starting to work the business. It's your very first action item you're going to take. There's also, your list is very psychologically powerful. Let me tell you how most people's network marketing experience goes. They get involved in the business, they buy some product, they go out and talk to 2 or 3 people. They're all excited. Their belief is, this big, but they're just kind of hoping this is real. And next thing you know, their neighbors telling them, "Oh man, are you crazy? They got you with that? I hope you can get your money back." Why? What are you talking about? Oh, those things are scams. You're about to go to jail. This, and people say crazy things that they have no idea what they're talking about. And that person is not going to call you back, or maybe they're just going to say, "Hey, I'm just not interested in doing this anymore," or you're going to call them and you're not going to get them, or they say they're going to show up at the meeting, not showing up. And exactly what happened is they got excited. They went and talked to a few people. Their broke friends told them why this isn't going to work, and now they quit the business. And that is most people's network marketing experience. And if you would ever get to the bottom of it, if you would ever actually talk to that person and say, hold on a second, because they won't tell you a lot of times why they're not working it. They're just going to say, I'm just too busy, or I'm not interested in doing it anymore. But if you get to the bottom of it, they're going to say, you know what? I've talked to everybody that I know, and nobody's interested, and none of my friends have any money to do this, and it's just not for me. Well, if they would have done their list, if you would have done things correctly, told them whenever they got in, look, don't talk to anybody. Let's make your list. Let's start getting you trained. Let's start working this business. It wouldn't have happened, because you could have said, hold on a second. Who have you actually talked to? Let's break out your list. Well, I'll talk to this guy, and I'll talk to this guy, and I'll talk to, remember Uncle Larry, and yeah, and so, well, who else? Well, that's about it. So, okay, let's scratch those names off the list for right now. What is that, 4 or 5 people? You still got 95 people left to go out there and talk to. It's psychologically powerful. You can also start to understand the duplication process, and you can understand how big this can get when people have a list. If you have 100 names and you go through and we bring 3 people into the business, well, those 3 people each have 100 names. Now you can look and say, wow, with my 100, these hundreds, we now have 400 names minimum, 400 people to go out there and contact. That's the 3 people in your downline. What happens whenever you have 20 people or 50 people or 100 people or 1,000 people in your group? You have thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of people to go out there and talk to if everybody has their list. What happens, though, is people don't have their list. They talk to a few people. They think they've talked to everyone. And if they're not utilizing their list, it's absolute disaster. Whenever you get your list, you want to go through and qualify your list. There's a lot of different ways, a lot of different opinions on how to go out there and qualify your list. I'm not going to go into too many of them right now. One of the things, though, that I always suggest that you do, everybody knows that 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, however many it is, you're very, very, very warm market, that if you call them up, they're going to give you 30 minutes to sit down and look at something. Not that they're necessarily going to do it, but this is a person that is going to call you to help, whenever they need you to move them. And these are your close friends, your family, whoever it is. These are the very first people you want to identify on your list, and those are the very first people you want to contact. The reason why is because you want people that are coming to the business to have a positive experience. You don't want them to contact someone and they don't even get to sit down with that person. And we can talk about that later, how to do that. But you want them to be able to sit down and talk with people immediately. As you go through, you qualify in that list. If those 5, 10, 15 people, a few of them are going to get involved in the business. And if you do the same thing with those people, you literally can never run out of people just working your very, very, very warm market. That's not all we're going to do, but if you don't have the list, none of that comes about. I could talk about this forever. People all the time in my group over the years call me up and they say, Brian, I got these guys, they come in and we got a little bit of group kind of going, but they're starting to flounder. A few of them are starting to drop out. What do I do? I'm panicking. I can see this whole thing falling apart. I can almost guarantee you 99% of the time they are not utilizing the list correctly. I said, okay, do these people that you have, do they all have their lists? Have you went through, have you qualified their list? Have you went out and started talking to those 10, 15 people, the very warm market? Are you doing those very basic things correctly? Or are you just signing people up, telling them to bring you some people, show up at the meetings and bring some people? Chances are that's what's happening. So I don't want to beat a dead horse too much on this list. If you're out there, you're in this network marketing industry, you're not utilizing the list, you're fooling yourself. You are going to have a very, very hard time being successful if you're not out there utilizing the list.